So the whole thing's what, a giant computer game?
No, not at all. It doesn't need a user to interact with it to function. My body stays here.
For the past few months, the official free movie selection on YouTube has been outstanding, like the best it has ever been, but it just got even better with a long list of top-notch movies I've never seen on streaming before, much less a free service like YouTube. Yes, I've got a new microphone. This is way closer to what my voice actually sounds like, so bear with me if I sound and maybe even look a bit different. I've got some new tech around me, and I'm getting used to it without the help of a technician, so just bear with me. And let me know how the mic sounds in the comments. But today, I've got a killer lineup of movies that have either never been free to watch, or in most cases, it's their first time available to stream altogether. Movies like Get Low with Robert Duvall and Bill Murray. We've got a totally badass Kevin Costner flick directed by Clint Eastwood.
Oh yeah.
Free for the first time, we've got one of the funniest movies ever made and one of the most sexually explicit movies I've ever seen, which is really saying something. All of these movies are free on YouTube, but check the list recap at the end of every video for a full list of services currently hosting these movies. If you like the idea of non-stop movie recommendations from a genuine movie addict like me, and not some AI-generated list YouTube keeps trying to push on you, then click subscribe. I recommend a ridiculous amount of movies here every single week. Thanks to Groons for sponsoring this video. First up on the list, we've got one I used to watch late night on cable TV all the time back in the day, and it just recently made its debut onto streaming services, Surviving the Game. An awesome action survival movie where Rutger Hauer and a bunch of other old white guys are hunting down Ice-T. Yeah, Ice-T.
If you make it to civilization, you live. If you don't, maybe God will have mercy.
I mean, honestly, if you're a fan of Ice-T in any way, whether it be his role on Law and Order or his music, you've got to see Surviving the Game, especially if you've never heard of it. And even though I did used to watch this all the time, I did forget how slow of a start this movie has. It feels a bit outdated in that sense, but man, once they do begin to hunt him down, the movie really picks up and kind of doesn't quit. And it ends up playing out similarly to First Blood. Certainly not quite as solid of a film, but I personally was excited to see Surviving the Game appear on streaming services late last year. Now, at the top of the video, I did mention all these are free on YouTube. I've even put links down in the top pinned comment so you could start watching these movies right away. Now, everything on this list is a movie I love, but a movie that is hard to find on streaming, or at least it used to be hard to find on streaming, including a Johnny Depp movie that I did not want to include on this list. It's titled Dead Man, and this is a fantastic Jim Jarmusch film, but it's an art house flick that is not for everybody. It's really kind of a road movie where Johnny Depp's character just is interacting with all these interesting characters played by great actors. You've got Crispin Glover, Billy Bob Thornton, and Iggy Pop. So if that sounds like you, Dead Man is a super cool flick, but a movie with some very similar themes that I think is much more accessible and ultimately just a better film is Get Low. This stars Robert Duvall and Bill Murray. It's an amazing movie that I don't know that I've ever seen available on streaming. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But Robert Duvall plays this crotchety old man who decides he wants to have a living wake, which is basically where you have a funeral while you're still alive so you can hear what everyone had to say about you. But nobody likes this guy, and so Bill Murray's role is to kind of put this thing together in this small town, and as he's doing so, he's learning a lot about this guy and why people don't like him. Both of them are hilarious in this movie. You kind of expect that from Bill Murray, but not necessarily Robert Duvall. And it's not a knee slapper of a comedy. It is a bit dark, you know, it's dealing with a man on the edge of death, but it's still charming, heartwarming, and ultimately has something to say. And again, I think it's a lot more accessible than Jim Jarmusch's Dead Man.
About time for me to get low.
Next up, I've got an animated anthology that I highly recommend, even for people who feel like they're over The Matrix, because back when the original sequels came out, they released this animated anthology. It was a straight-to-DVD thing, but it's awesome. Each story in the Animatrix is telling a different Matrix-adjacent story, and only one or two of them feel like they're directly connected to the movies. All the others are definitely connected story-wise, but each one focuses on a very unique character and their relationship with the Matrix, and it's all very separate from the movies. And each one was done in a different animation style, many of them done from some of Japan's most famous animators, giving the Animatrix kind of an eclectic but visually stunning style. It really is fantastic. In fact, some of the same animators did this exact same thing for Batman. It's titled Gotham Knight. That too is currently free on YouTube. Coming up next, we've got probably one of the funniest movies of all time, and I have never, ever seen it available on a free streaming service, much less YouTube. Before that, I do want to tell you about today's sponsor, Goose, which is a comprehensive formula loaded into 8 sweet-tasting gummy bears a day. But Goose is not a multivitamin or a prebiotic or a greens gummy. It's all 3 of those things, plus something a little extra special. Each pack of Goose is loaded with 20 essential vitamins, but they've also packed in 60 whole food sourced ingredients in here. Looking here on the back, you'll see each pack of Goose helps with gut health, energy, recovery, beauty, immunity, and cognition. Goose are also vegan and nut-free, dairy-free, and gluten-free, making them easy to incorporate into your diet. And Goose has no artificial flavors or colors, which is going to be surprising to you because the extra special thing I mentioned is that Goose taste sweet. I actually look forward to eating my Goose. They do make my mouth water when I eat them, but I look forward to eating my Goose. Like, I see them on the counter, I'm excited to eat them. I'm not having to choke them down in order to get my vitamins. Now, I'm currently eating the sugar-free version. They've got both. I've tried both. I can barely tell the difference. And when compared to other vitamins or green drinks, you actually absorb Goose better, which means you get more benefit from that small pack of 8 gummies, whereas other options are making your urine expensive. And this little pack includes 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is 3 times the amount you'll find in leading green powders, or more than 2 cups of broccoli. Start off the new year right with Goose' biggest sale of the year going on right now when you follow my link down in the video description. Again, this is something I enjoy daily. I highly recommend it. To get that big discount though, follow my link down in the video description. But speaking of other recommendations, let's get back to the movies. Believe it or not, Team America is over 20 years old. It's insane we never got a sequel to this movie. I think it still holds up as one of the funniest movies of all time. And one of the things that's so great about Team America is that it is a political comedy, but it seems to be funny to both sides of the aisle, or at least it was back when this movie came out. Who knows nowadays? I still find it to be funny as hell, even though a lot of the jokes are pretty dated now. I mean, it's 20 years old. What do you want? And I'll say Matt Stone and Trey Parker, the creators of South Park, created this movie. They do know how to do dirty humor right. You know, like, Team America is not just loaded with dick and fart jokes. Like, they're in there, but the crude humor actually does have something to say and does go somewhere. And I do get that the humor is not for everyone, but if you've got an affinity for, like, childish humor, you know, the sense of humor of a 14-year-old boy, if you've got that, like I do, movies do not get a whole lot funnier than Team America.
It's what?
Inevitable.
One more time?
Inevitable!
And this may be the first time I've ever seen it available on a free streaming service ever. Super cool that it's on YouTube right now. Now we're going to go way back in time with a classic Cary Grant flick, but I think it's probably his most underrated movie and one of my personal favorites. It also happens to be fairly family-friendly with Father Goose.
How did you get here? Duck.
Now, this movie's set during World War II. He's in the Pacific, and he's basically marooned on a small island, or at least he was placed there by his commander to observe enemy aircraft and ships and report back. So he's basically hiding out on this island when he encounters a woman and a bunch of preparatory schoolgirls trapped on a nearby island.
What?
Don't forget Gretchen. Oh, that's her friend. I'll help her in, dear. Would you mind?
Oh.
He ends up having to sort of help them survive, and it's great. Like, he is just this classic man's man that wants to be left alone on this island. The last thing he wants are a bunch of girls on the island with him. It makes for a hilarious premise. It too is a pretty heartwarming movie, and it's very funny. You know, there are not a lot of World War II movies with this level of charm. Now next up, we've got a movie that stars and was directed by Clint Eastwood in the early 90s. I haven't seen or heard of this film in forever, probably decades. I don't know that I've ever seen it available on a streaming service, and right now for a limited time, you can catch A Perfect World for free on YouTube.
8-year-old Philip Perry has just been taken hostage by the most dangerous man in West Texas.
Put the gun down, old-timer. You couldn't hit me anyway, probably shoot the boy.
Now in this movie, Kevin Costner plays an escaped convict who actually kidnaps a young boy and takes him on the run. Kind of a disturbing premise, and the law is after them the entire time. A Perfect World ends up being a road movie, similar to Dead Man. You've got these two characters traveling across the country, interacting with different characters. Now, A Perfect World does go to some dark and disturbing places, but it's relatively accessible. And even though some elements in this movie are quite disturbing, the relationship between Costner and this young boy is actually one of the brighter parts of the movie. They actually develop this really great bond through this road trip. Nothing really untoward or inappropriate.
Let's understand each other. Stealing's wrong, okay? But if there's something you need bad, and you ain't got the money, then it's okay to take a loan on the item.
And then Clint Eastwood plays the lawman hunting him down. This movie's got so much going for it, but like I said, some of the elements can be pretty upsetting, but if this is one that you liked back in the day and you haven't seen it forever, there's a reason. It has not ever been on streaming to my knowledge. Now next up, I've got one that I recommend maybe once a year because I so seldomly see it available, but it does travel around to different streaming services, and it is a mind bender from the 90s that should have been a cult classic, should have been, and just for whatever reason was not. It's titled The 13th Floor.
While my mind is jacked in, I'm walking around experiencing 1937. My body stays here.
I'll say anyone who loves the classic dark fantasy movie Dark City needs to check out The 13th Floor. This is much more of a science fiction movie, dealing with virtual reality, very immersive, realistic virtual reality, and you deal with characters that are essentially going back in time. So you almost get a time travel type of movie, but it's not actual time travel, it's all virtual. So the themes and the ultimate place where 13th Floor ends up are very different from Dark City, but I'm just drawing that comparison because I know people that love Dark City are going to be blown away by the 13th Floor, especially those of you watching this that have never seen or heard of it. Now, all the videos I make on this channel are lists of movies, and my most popular lists are those of sexually graphic movies. HBO Max actually tends to have the most sexually graphic movies available at any given time, and there is a French film I recommend over on HBO Max occasionally that is now free on YouTube, but I'm warning you, tread lightly with The Piano Teacher. Now, I know that's an innocent-sounding name for a movie, but The Piano Teacher makes 50 Shades of Grey look like a game of patty cake. So this can be an upsetting film, but it's also very effective. You've got powerhouse performances like Isabelle Huppert plays the lead character here. It is a role of a lifetime. It is a performance that has influenced countless actresses since this movie came out. And she plays a piano teacher who's having an affair with a much younger student of hers, but this movie goes way deeper than that. She's actually got some very deep, dark secrets that she really, really wants to share with this guy, and it sets kind of some crazy things in motion. Now, this is a high drama, talky movie. There's actually not even a lot of sex in the movie, though some of the things on screen and certainly a lot of the things discussed are going to put a lot of you off. I'm warning you again, this is an intense movie, and it's French language. You're going to have to read subtitles all the way through, but if you do want to see like a really excellent, thought-provoking film, this thing is top-notch. Just watch it when you're in the right headspace, trust me. And then, I'm sorry, longtime subscribers might be a little annoyed with this next recommendation only because it's popped up on a bunch of videos over the last 6 months or so, only because this movie, which is an amazing, highly underrated movie from the 70s, It was just recently put onto Blu-ray and just very recently available on streaming. I'm talking about William Friedkin's Sorcerer. Now, William Friedkin is famous for directing movies like The French Connection and The Exorcist, and Sorcerer was his big movie after The Exorcist. It was highly anticipated, except when it released, Star Wars was also released, and it basically tanked this movie. It still holds up as a masterful art film with some really hard-edged, masculine characters in it. Not just Roy Scheider. In fact, the entire cast is this mixed-matched group of men. They all speak different languages, yet they're having to transport nitroglycerin, basically. They've got highly explosive dynamite in these trucks, and they have to traverse the jungle. It's incredibly intense, very well done, and this is a remake of a movie from the 1950s titled The Wages of Fear. I recommend that whenever I see it available on streaming. Super cool to see Sorcerer for free on YouTube.
Men who are willing to do a dangerous job. The men who qualify, they will receive exceptional wages. Only experienced truck drivers willing to risk their life can do it.
And then my number one pick is not necessarily a movie I rarely see available on stream, even though it is kind of rare, but it's a movie I don't know I've ever seen available to watch for free on any platform, and that's David Fincher's The Game.
Game.
Specifically tailored for each participant.
If you've never seen this, it features just stunning David Fincher cinematography. I mean, cinematography that was well ahead of its time, meaning the movie looks like it could have come out yesterday. Super twisted story that takes hold of you and does not let go. If you've never heard of this or never seen it, I don't know where you've been, but Michael Douglas plays a millionaire, I guess probably a billionaire by today's standards. And his brother, played by Sean Penn, signs him up for this game, this elaborate game that's essentially going to be integrated into his life. And as he starts to play this game, the entire movie, you as the audience member, you don't know what's real, what's not. Is the game real? Is it actually something else happening? This movie is fast-paced, but keeps you on your toes all the way up to the final moments. And I'm telling you, if you've never seen this movie, the final minutes of the game are some of the most mind-blowing final minutes I've ever seen in a movie. Still to this day, even when I know what's going to happen, this movie still rocks me and blows me away at the end. But here's a recap of the list along with other streaming services currently hosting these same movies. If you got some recommendations, leave a like, it does help me out. And if you want to see future recommendations, make sure you've clicked that subscribe button. But I'll keep making these videos as long as y'all keep watching them. Thanks for watching this special YouTube list, and you will see me on the next one.